Hey guys, I'm Evan.
And I'm Alex.
And today we are taking time to talk about the new Star Fox game, what was the actual name of that?
Star Fox Zero?
Was it Zero?
I think it's Zero.
Yeah.
I'm like 99% sure it's Zero. Unless it isn't.
So this is usually Zero is like a prequel thing.
Yeah, that's you know what, while we're doing this, I'm going to really quickly look up the name on GameFAQs.
Anyway, this wasn't planned at all, but I just mentioned because it's been being talked about
Zero.
Quite a bit. Oh, it's Zero.
It is in fact Zero.
All right.
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah, I mentioned to you that it had a lot of controversy, and you, as I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware, of the fact that this game is catching a lot of flack because of its easy mode.
Right.
Which, for those who don't know, it is a baby mode unlike any other, because it allows literal babies, and this is the complaint, literal babies to beat the game. Because, much like games that have a difficulty slider, you can pick easy, normal, hard, what have you, but the easiest mode makes you actually unkillable and invincible. And so, you sit there with an infinite life bar, and your plane will glide forward. Your R-wing. This is the problem.
Yeah, you gotta use the right terminology.
Yeah. And so, assuming you can, hit the laser beam button every once in a while, I guess the thought is that eventually a baby would just randomly slap the laser button enough times.
Well, you also do collision damage, so assuming a boss doesn't have like a really obscure weak point, I imagine you would eventually just ram into them enough.
But yeah, you can. Yeah, TLDR, the easy mode makes you invincible, allowing anyone to beat the game. And this is an affront, I'm sure, to all of you real, I need a movie guy, but to all you real gamers out there.
Well, see, this isn't really a new thing. This has actually been this kind of thing has been becoming more and more common as time goes on. A lot of games have been having what they call like story mode or a like narrative mode.
I have seen
difficulty.
that. Like in the options, it even says like, pick this if you want to play a normal game.
Yeah, or pick this if you just
like
want to
getting punched in the face, and pick this if you just want to experience a story.
Yeah, I think The Last of Us had it. Most of the games that I've seen lately have been RPGs. Like Pillars of Eternity has a story mode, in which your characters just cannot die. Pillars of Eternity, it's a little bit. I think it might be a little bit more unique because while you can't die, you still have to walk around and you still have to go walk around and experience all the story. Go to all the locations, talk to all the NPCs.
Right.
You still have it's an RPG, so it's an Infinity Engine style RPG. So you have skill checks to making conversations that can alter the way things go a bit. There are puzzles to solve and whatnot. So that's probably one of the better ones, because Pillars of Eternity has really really crunchy D&D inspired combat. And if you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to really work that stuff,
right? Okay,
it could still be a fulfilling game experience. But Baldur's Gate 2 Extended Edition also recently got, I believe, a story mode style thing, and
I think isn't Final Fantasy IX, the Steam release of Final Fantasy IX, doing that too?
It doesn't have an official story mode setting, but it does have those boosters that they keep adding to the newer games.
I thought I heard that you could
turn
off all random battles and artificially increase your level or something.
Yeah, there's a booster that just flat out makes you invincible and has and gives you infinite trance.
Okay. Literal babies cannot use an item to make themselves invincible. Now, this is still better than Star Fox.
Well, it's not an item. You go into one of your menus. I think it might be the config menu.
Okay.
And then at the very bottom there are three selections. It's max out your it's like max out your gil, max out your health and whatever, which also gives you invincibility.
Yeah.
And then also there's also like all items are mastered, because in Final Fantasy 9 every piece of equipment has an individual ability on it, and you have to spend, you can only use the item. You can only use that ability while you have that item equipped, unless you master the item by getting enough, by grinding enough for it.
Oh, okay.
But there are also like some extra boosters that are available outside of the menu, and that is fast forward, no encounters, and all attacks do 9,999 damage. Although I actually bought it the other day, and so I've been trying to work through it while I've been playing Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
And now Bravely Second. But the one upside of the 9,999 damage, which I think, and the reason that I think a lot of people are going to end up using this anyway, is that it does give you a 100% chance to steal things.
Really?
Yeah, and that is easily one of the most frustrating parts of Final Fantasy 9.
Oh, okay.
That you have to spend a decent chunk of every boss battle just like sitting there and stealing and stealing and stealing. Because the game is, you're not really you're usually not missing out too badly by not stealing, but the game is kind of built around you stealing frequently,
right? And
getting cool shit faster that way. Anyway, that was a tangent. So
anyway,
back to Star Fox.
Yeah, but like, things like that. I mean, before we get to, I guess, Star Fox specifically, because I don't know why. I mean, I guess because it's doing it like to the nth degree. It's going above and beyond other games in terms of the easy mode. But like, how do you feel? Because I want to say, just on paper, or in my head, I want to say, I don't care about easy mode. Just it's an optional mode. Yeah. I'm not going to pick it. It doesn't affect me. And if someone needs it, more people can enjoy the game. And that's very like. Good of me to say, but I caught myself because when you mentioned the 9,000 damage thing, I chuckled. A part of me chuckled at it, like that part of me that I get, is a gamer.
I don't think you chuckled so much as you scoffed at it.
Yeah, maybe that's even more appropriate.
I mean that's always my because I'm the type that after I beat a game. I like to when I'm playing a game again, I like to go and I like to use like mods and like game short codes and shit like that,
right.
to change up the experience. Let me try out different things. Okay. And invariably, when you're just trying to find something like that for a game, you are going to find people begging, hey, somebody make me a code for like invincibility?
Yeah.
Or I just want to be like level 99 right off the bat.
Yeah, like I want the Vorpal sword, so I can one shot the Jabberwock.
And that always bugs me a little, because it's like why? Like why even bother playing it? But
see, and that's the thing. Like, does that make us hypocrites in this regard a little? I don't know.
I think there's a fine line. I think there's a bit of a fine line. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase this without sounding like a douchebag.
No, because it's so weird. It's so weird. The weird thing
it
is like, it's almost like I'm trying to say, hey, this is totally fine. More people should enjoy the game, and everyone has different skill levels. But like, there's a tiny douchebag somewhere inside of me that is like, man, those people don't deserve to play.
Well, I think it's a bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
There are some games where the game can still have a fulfilling experience without the stuff that gives people trouble. Pillars of Eternity, for example.
Right.
If you just removed the combat from that game,
okay,
I honestly don't think you would be missing out on too much. It's definitely fun. If you like D&D combat, you'd like Pillars of Eternity. But people like I have a friend who really likes story-driven games. She has Pillars of Eternity. I know she has Pillars of Eternity on her Steam account. I'm assuming she bought it. She has like no hours played. and I'm assuming it's because she tried to wrap her head around the combat and like couldn't. And I still don't fully understand the combat. It's like I said, it's really crunchy.
Yeah.
I know when I was playing through it, I wasn't remotely optimized.
like it's the card game from Final Fantasy IX. You're just like, I'm just gonna do this stuff, and I won.
Fun fact: the Steam manual for Final Fantasy IX doesn't even try to explain Tatara Master.
I was hoping they'd fix it. Did they change it?
No.
Really?
No.
Really?
All the instruction you get is still like the NPCs in game will be like, "Wow, let's just put down cards and stuff will happen."
Maybe as a nod, they kept it exactly the same. And it's unwinnable.
Anyway, the manual just pretty much just says Tatara Master is a card game. Play it.
It's like at this point, it's like the old Mega Man. The Mega Man box art, where they just after a while they started making it crap on purpose.
Yeah.
But
Pillar's Eternity again. So if you remove all the combat, and just make it cinematic, just make it your good guys fighting the bad guys, and you win because you're the good guys.
Yeah.
You're not losing anything because you still have a great story to play through. There's still a bunch of puzzles you can choose to solve on your own, or just look them up online.
Right.
There's a bunch of there's tons of side quests and just tons of fun stories to explore within the game. Mm-hmm. Combat's a very tiny part of it.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you were playing like Super Mario Brothers, and you used a cheat to just have like the star, like forever, mm-hmm. then you're robbing yourself of 99% of the game there because, there's still the platforming, but it would definitely lose something. If you didn't have to worry about enemies.
So is it maybe like not my inner douche, but some kind of inner altruistic gesture that just wants other people to have the same kind of good gameplay experience that I had?
To be honest, I think that even the assholes sort of have that to some degree.
Okay.
Because like when Dark Souls 2 was coming out, there was a mistranslated interview with the director, Miyazaki, which implied that Dark Souls 2 was going to be easier than Dark Souls 1. And somewhere down the road...
And then the angry mob formed?
Yeah, somewhere down the road, people construed that to mean that Dark Souls 2 might have like an easy mode.
Okay.
And people just went bananas over it. People were so angry. Like, what do you mean there could be people out there who don't have to get good at Dark Souls? And there were so many contentious threads on like the Fextra Life forums and the GameFAQs forum, people being like, all right, Dark Souls 2 can have an easy mode, but you have to have like a special name tag that points out that you're like a fucking loser that you can never get rid of, and you can only fight like 3 bosses out of the game, and then the game calls you an asshole, and then also like people from Software come and kick you in the nuts. Like that's the kind of level people were getting. Like people were so angry that other people might not have to work as hard as them.
It's so interesting though, because I'm now in my head seeing parallels from all over gaming, because it's, and that's why I think it's really, we have to find out whether we've all got like an inner douche or an inner like just.
Well, like I said, it's the mixture of the two. The people who defend the difficulty in Dark Souls 2. I mean, granted, I'm not Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls in general.
Yeah.
Dark Souls I'm using Dark Souls as an example because it's just an easy like analogy to make here.
Yeah, of course.
The people who defend the difficulty in Souls games, they're partly doing it because we get to laugh at you guys who aren't good at Dark Souls.
Right.
But but really when you get down to it, it's because a lot of the reason people are so invested, I guess, in the way things are and why they get so up in arms when anything changes is that they really like the way the game is in that state, and they want everybody to enjoy it the same way they do.
Yeah, I suppose. And
they're just kind of assholes about it.
Yeah, and
it especially comes up whenever somebody complains about PvP in a Dark Souls game, the invasions. You're going to get people saying, I hate that people can invade me, and because I get an invader and they just they just try to ruin my game, you know?
Right, yeah.
They hide behind the monster, like that guy who invaded me.
Yeah.
In a couple of videos ago.
Right.
And then you get people saying, well, you know, PvP is what makes Dark Souls for me. Like, that's what really gets me engrossed in the game. That, you know, at any point I could be invaded by somebody and I have to fight for my life, or I can lose all my progress. Oh, they'll never phrase it that nicely.
Yeah, right.
And they'll say, you know, invasions are just a part of the game, you know, get over it. And someone else will say, well, maybe I think Dark Souls is all about, like, you know, the shared experience with other people, seeing all those messages on the floor and the bloodstains and, you know, seeing the spirits, just knowing that other people are, you know, are struggling with me. And it just, you know, there's so many facets to this one conversation. And I think that applies to pretty much anything.
And it's now kind of surreal that, like, you know, Star Fox Zero is giving us an insight into the inner workings of people's, like, the human psyche, you know. But
well, I think about this kind of stuff a lot.
Yeah.
I think about game design a lot.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, it could, you know.
I think it's kind of weird that this is coming out with I was going to say Dark Souls again, with Star Fox.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel that at least part of the reason that this is happening with Star Fox is literally to make it like a baby game. Like, just they've kind of given themselves a twofer here.
Right.
Parents who have bought their children a Nintendo Wii U have done so because, you know, marketing says that's the console for kiddies.
Right.
That's got the Mario on it. That's got the Mario games. It's got the Zelda games.
Yeah.
It's got the Smash Brothers that all the kids like to play, and the Pokemans.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And so, when they go shopping for a game, you know, for little Timmy, they don't want parents to actually buy them like Xenosaga Chronicles or Xenosaga Chronicles X, and then have it just be completely alien and unplayable for them.
And, you know, you probably also, like, have you seen freaking little kids play a game and, like, lose at it?
Yeah.
They probably don't want them, like, crying and then throwing the controller at the TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So by including a baby mode in Star Fox Zero, then they just have to say, "Oh, look, honey, like, this is the mode where, you know, this is the mode where you can't die and you can just enjoy the game." And those little kids get to just be like, I'm flying around.
You tell them, like, I'm putting it on maximum
hardness. They don't have to know.
Yeah, just be like, "Oh man, you're so good."
Yeah,
but, like,
and I really feel like that's a lot of the motivating decision, especially because there hasn't been the Wii U has been really dry on releases this year.
Yeah,
and even more so for, you know, games that are for kids.
I mean, you know, it's partially that. I think it's partially because of all their first party stuff, Star Fox is probably the, like, least popular, you know, when you compare it to Mario, Metroid.
Yeah,
Zelda, the trifecta of Mario, Metroid, Zelda, kind of.
Yeah.
Star Fox, they're trying to. Yeah.
Star Fox fans have been suckling at a dry teat for many, many, many years now.
Yeah.
Star Fox Assault, I think, was the last game that came out. I haven't even played Assault.
Yeah, but
that was on the GameCube.
I mean, I'm thinking they.
I heard
did
it's bad.
Yeah, they put in the baby mode just to appeal to the widest possible demographic, and, you know, they probably thought, okay, we're putting in, you know, a normal difficulty for people that want a challenge, and they probably very reasonably thought that this optional mode that doesn't, you know, pertain to those people won't have them trying to bomb Nintendo.
Exactly.
But, like,
it's like one of those new Super Mario Brothers games didn't they have that thing where if you died enough you got, like, the super leaf?
Yes.
And it made you, like, invincible and let you fly.
Actually, that's also in 3D World.
Is it?
We haven't sucked enough, but to get it. But if you die, like, 5 times in a row, you get, like, you get the super Tanuki suit or something.
Right.
Where you're invincible and can just kind of float.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I'm saying that's like the same sort of idea. That if you're good, then if you're not even if you're good, if you're halfway decent at the game, you're probably never going to run into that.
I didn't even know it was a thing until I started playing with freaking Chris.
Chris is really bad at games.
Yeah, but he would just pick Toad every time because he's fast, and would just. It's like he was born to run off ledges. So, like, yeah, after a while, it just, like, after a while, he would just do that, and I would die, just because invariably I'll die. And then I was like, wow, why are we gold sparkling Tanukis? And,
Right.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I don't feel like anything, if it's optional, it doesn't, if it's optional, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because I just don't have to use it. I haven't seen the Super Tanuki suit in our playthrough of Mario World, of 3D World.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to.
You're probably not going to.
Yeah, but it doesn't offend me to think that, some 2-year-old somewhere, had to use it to get past that one really hard level that doesn't exist.
But what
because it's an easy game on the whole.
But what if they had a button, and you could just push the button and become the Star Tanuki? Then how would you feel on the inside?
I'd probably roll my eyes a little, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like something like Mario also just isn't like complex enough to require you to be at like if there was a button in Dark Souls that made you you just pushed it and it just made you invincible.
Oh, that's a good one. That's got to get to you. I mean, not that I'm trying
that it wouldn't really get to me, but it would kind of annoy me. Like, well, because the gameplay in Dark Souls is the game.
Yeah.
Like, if you're... Like, actually, there is something in Dark Souls I can use to kind of equate to that. I can kind of equate to that.
Okay.
The co-op mechanic in Dark Souls.
Right.
You can either... in theory, it's to let people, team up together and have fun. And also to beat bosses together that they might not be able to beat on their own.
Right. I rather like the co-op mechanic.
Yeah, the co-op's a lot of fun. The I'm going to say problem, but I'm using air quotes.
Right.
The problem is that a lot of people, especially right now in Dark Souls 3, at the beginning of any launch, you're going to see this all the time. A lot of people just don't even try and just use the co-op to carry them through the game.
Oh, okay, I see.
Like in Dark Souls 3, you know how there's like the whole hollowing thing in the other Dark Souls games?
Yes.
Dark Souls 3 has a similar sort of dealie, with the really cool thing being that if you co-op with other people, you can stock up on every time you co-op with somebody successfully, you get an ember. An ember is the item that turns you into your human form equivalent. It's actually called ember form in this mode.
Okay.
But so if you do a lot of co-op, you can stock up on a lot of those embers pretty easily, and you don't have to worry about rationing those so much. So I've been doing a lot of co-op in Dark Souls 3 just for fun, and also just to stock up on those.
Right.
And I've been getting so many people. I've been co-oping with people on the first boss, because the first boss gave me a lot of trouble before I figured out the trick.
Okay.
And there's a good hour's worth of video showing me just hitting my head against this boss over and over and over and over and over again until I finally beat him. And I did it legitimately. I worked long and hard, and I beat him the right way.
Right.
And then I try helping these people, and there are people who they haven't even fought the boss. They haven't even tried to fight the boss. You can tell. I mean, you can tell because the cutscene for the boss only plays the first time. Right. And if you're co-oping with somebody who when they see the cutscene, you will also see the cutscene. Okay. But the little entryway where the boss is, there's no boss fog for the host until they actually trigger the boss. So what happens like 9 out of 10 times when I'm helping people with this boss is they summon their phantoms, and then they go and they walk a little bit past where the boss fog is for the rest of us, because they don't see it.
Right.
And they just like wait around for us, and we're like trying to demonstrate we can't move forward. Go and trigger the boss. Yeah. And I've had so many people who think we're just being dicks, and just like keep waiting for us to follow them. And we're like, we can't go walk 10 steps forward and trigger the damn boss.
You should put down a message that's like, walk forward.
I wish I could. Actually, you know what? I've actually seen some pretty complex messages. Like, mostly people just keep pointing. Like in that direction,
yeah, that
and
makes sense.
Eventually that seems to get the point. But that's like, it's like, really, you couldn't even try the boss,
right?
You couldn't even try before you. And I'm a bit of a hypocrite here, because I did in my last video no one's gonna watch it.
Right.
But in my last video, I got to the boss of that area, and there were a shitload of summon signs on the ground.
Wow.
And I just said, you know what? What the hell? I just wanna have some co-op fun.
Right.
And I did it. We beat the boss. Fine.
Okay.
But I didn't just let the summons carry me through the fight. And that's the other thing. These guys who don't want to do the work, they tend to just like sit in the back and let the summons do all the work. And you can tell who wants to co-op and who just wants to be carried through the game. And so those kinds of people bug me. It's even worse in Dark Souls 3 because you can actually have 3 phantoms with you at a time.
Whoa.
The maximum is 2, but there's an item you can use that lets you summon an additional phantom, with the caveat being that you can now be invaded by 2 people at the same time. But it's still 3v2, even if that happens. And so many times for this first boss, people again don't even try it.
Right.
They use this item, they summon 3 other phantoms, and then they waltz in with their little phantom army.
And then they just sit down and have a sandwich.
And sit back and and just let us just let us carry them through that boss. And it's like those are defining moments.
It must be that. It's like if you take that feeling, times the mob, and it's then you get this kind of indirect. It's not specifically directed at anything, but you just get this kind of like disdain for the game playing itself for you. Yeah. And so you just kind of get mad at that concept.
Really?
So,
I mean, I can't even stop myself. When I get summoned by a guy who has 2 other guys, I immediately go, really? Because Vort isn't that hard. Like, the guy was hard for me because I'm playing completely blind. I had a really shitty shield. And the biggest problem for me was I didn't know that Ember form was a thing.
Yeah.
And so when you're not in Ember form, you lose 40% of your maximum health. So I had a very tiny health bar and a shield that only blocked like 50% of his damage. And so I just had to get good. But I see all these people who have a good shield, and they're in... By summoning me, they are in Ember form. Right. So they have their giant-ass life bar. And they're still doing this with, like, 4 times as many people as I had.
Yeah.
And sucking at it. It's like...
So, like, it's
like... But, so, I can't complete... But, again, I think the severity of this issue, again, depends on how much does this take away from the game.
Right, okay. Because, yes, with something like Dark Souls, the fighting is pretty much like the whole of it.
I don't even think co-op is so bad when they're just trying to co-op through the level. Yeah. But it's if they're using co-op to just bypass a boss. I don't even want to try with this boss. I'm not even going to fight the boss myself. I just want to pay 3 other people to kill the boss for me. So it's like if you played Shadow of the Colossus. And there was a method that you could just get another player to play all the bosses for you. Like, why even bother playing the game? In Shadow of the Colossus, the bosses are the game, even more so than in Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's the whole of the gameplay and the story.
Yeah,
and everything.
Yeah. Whereas with something like Star Fox, the We're almost turning this into a Dark Souls.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Dark Souls podcast. Whereas in something like Star Fox, when you really get down to it, the game is about blowing stuff up with your ship. Yeah. And even in Invincible Baby Mode does not take that away from you.
Right. It's about freaking being in an awesome ship and shooting stuff and like dogfighting.
Right.
And all that cool Top Gun plane crap.
Right.
And so
exactly.
But I mean,
I guess like the equivalent for like a Metroid game would be if there was like a button that gave you like all the upgrades and also just like explored the whole map for you automatically. And just like, all right, well, I guess that's the route I have to go to get to the next boss.
But now,
good thing I don't have to explore, and I also have all the items in the game.
But now, by kind of the same token, what is a dogfight unless you have a chance to be blown up?
Well, that's a game that's kind of like a game when you get right down to it. What is a game if you have no chance of losing?
That's true. It's like, oh man, you see, you must have seen that Twilight Zone episode.
I don't think I have.
There's a okay tangent. Skip ahead like 3 minutes. There's an episode of the Twilight Zone. It rather nicely illustrates our discussion here.
Oh, well then go watch that, guys.
Yeah.
Later.
That's, there's this criminal. He's robbing, thieving, gambling, real bad apple.
Oh, is that the one where he
dies?
He dies and goes to like a casino where
he goes to heaven.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, hey, look. This is your own personal heaven. It's a casino with all the girls, and you have all the money, and you win all the time.
They made fun of that. They parodied that on Futurama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was the guy like wakes up and there's like a slot machine, and he pulls the reel and he gets like all like jackpots or whatever. He goes, oh man, oh shit, it's a casino where I can't lose. This must be heaven. And then he does it again. He wins the jackpots again. He goes, oh no, I must be in hell.
Yeah.
And then like someone walks by and and then like he's suddenly like on the plane and they're doing the William Shatner Gremlin thing.
Yeah.
They tie like two other like completely unrelated episodes together. It's really funny. But
long story short, guys, is guy wins a lot, gets bored with winning, and realizes that his hell is to win eternally and have no challenge. And that's the thing. It's a deep-seated like maybe human need to have a challenge and therefore like a payoff, like sense of accomplishment.
But see, the difference there is that when you're gambling, a lot of gambling things like a slot machine, for example, the outcome is the entire experience is purely binary. It's did you win or did you lose?
Right.
So if you're just always going to win at a slot machine, there's no point in winning because But even with other with like poker or with any game that's more complex, even with fucking Pong, it's not a binary decision. There's skill involved. There are the decisions you make as a player, the agency you exercise. That is where a lot of the fun is derived from.
Right.
I would argue that Mario would probably be as fun would probably still retain a lot of its fun if you were invincible all the time, because it's fun to run and jump on shit and platform, which I just realized kind of goes in the face of my earlier argument. But
even then, you could still like fall into a pit.
Yeah, it's something, and if you were playing, I'm trying playing any game, I'm trying not to say Souls. When you're playing Star Fox, even if you're invincible, you can still have fun by maneuvering your ship around, trying to hit the targets.
You can try to dodge stuff, try to shoot.
The game will not. The game will not
do a barrel roll.
Yeah, the game will not do that stuff for you.
Yeah,
and you take so little damage in the main from what I remember of the older Star Fox games. And you could even lie to yourself for a bit.
Yeah.
And ignore the fact that you're on easy baby mode, because your ship is still going to make the hit noises and
right,
and
so smoke.
Yeah,
and
so you could still challenge yourself and try to dodge all the stuff, and you're playing a game.
Right.
As long as the easy baby mode didn't just take the stages out,
right,
and just played the cutscenes, you're still playing the game.
Yeah, and so I guess it's kind of like, when a person plays a game and it's challenging or whatever, and they beat it and they get the sense of accomplishment, like in their brain, that payoff is justified and it feels good because of the work you had to put in.
Right.
And there's something off-putting about seeing someone else take a shortcut, and I guess still get the apparent enjoyment that you got.
There's always going to be some ill will towards people who don't play things exactly the same way you do.
Right.
Like no matter how like I get mad when I see you guys not playing my League of Legends characters properly. Because I know what's best. I know how to fucking play Garen, and you never build the Sunfire Gate first. You need to rush the fucking Sunfire Gate.
Freaking Tank Garen is best Garen.
Tank Garen is worthless. Or he used to be. I don't know. I haven't played with the new Garen, but I'm saying it's like that kind of thing. Like, you are allowed to play the way you want to play.
Yeah, and it shouldn't. The thing is,
as long as you are not affecting the enjoyment of other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you are by not playing Garen and Jarvan properly.
There you go.
But I digress.
If
we're still winning.
So at the onset of this, I thought it was going to be very, almost black and white. I thought I was just going to be able to say you have your own fun. Things you don't pick don't affect you. Other people don't affect you. You enjoy the game and stay out of other people's business, but it's almost like people can't quite do that.
No. See, the thing that really matters, the division that really matters here is single player versus multiplayer games.
Okay.
In a single player game,
that's another dynamic. Yeah, I haven't thought. Of that,
yeah. like the Dark Souls thing bugs me, but I would never even have to deal with it if I didn't choose to go and co-op with people.
Right.
When I'm not co-oping with other people, I'm just playing the game my way, and
true.
I know that somewhere out there is a person who's just getting a game handed to them.
Yeah.
Like how, and I say this out of love. I do love the Game Grumps, but it drove me crazy that their last episode of Bloodborne was literally just them sitting around for like 15 minutes waiting to find someone to just carry them through the final boss. Like, complete waste of everybody's time.
Yeah.
But in League of Legends, your actions are affecting other people.
Right.
And so that's why I added the caveat, you play Garen differently than me.
Yeah.
But we're still winning.
Right.
So that's fun. Or we're not losing because you're playing Garen differently.
Right.
If we were losing because you're like, fuck this, I'm going to build...
Like ADC Garen.
I'm going to build 5 black cleavers, and that is my way to play Garen. We're probably going to lose, and it's probably your fault. Then your actions are affecting our team, and you're making the game bad for everybody.
Right.
But you saying, I want to go tank Garen, I'm going to build Warmogs and a bunch of other dumb shit first.
Yeah.
If you're still playing Garen, fine. All right, you do what you do, and I'll just grit my teeth.
Yeah,
and this Star Fox thing doesn't affect any other person's Star Fox game.
Right, exactly.
A Dark Souls 2 easy mode would not have affected anybody else's game.
Yeah,
and so on and so forth.
See, and I guess that's where it breaks down, because if you're playing a game with other people, well, it's kind of not the same thing though, because the reason, in a game of League of Legends, or like an MMO or whatever, it's understandable. Yeah, but the dumb thing about it is, it's people getting mad about other people, like, in their houses that they're never going to see or interact with playing a game, playing Star Fox, and enjoying it.
And that, I mean, that's inescapable. That's just, we're human beings. We are all prideful creatures, human beings. We all think we know the best way to do everything.
Right.
And it's always going to rub us the wrong way when we see other people do things wrong. I kill a baby seal every time somebody doesn't pick Bulbasaur as their starting Pokemon because they're doing it wrong. But there's nothing I can do to change all those wrong people that like Charmander the best. I mean, for whatever stupid reason.
Like,
Charmander's dumb.
Statistically speaking, Squirtle is the best choice.
Well, statistically, you're dumb. Because Bulbasaur beats Squirtle.
It's just like, statistically, your mom!
Statistically, I fucked your mom.
But what's the probability of it?
What's the probability that you're an asshole? 100%.
But like...
There's a 1 in 1 chance that you're a dumbass. Wait, let me check my math. My mistake. There's a 2 in 1 chance.
But yeah, so freaking
the moral. I don't want to say
the moral is stop being a douche and let people enjoy things, especially when that thing doesn't affect you.
Right.
If you're mad, if you're mad about something like World of Warcraft and how now people can get the items you rated for months for in like a day. Whatever. See your psychiatrist. But
I made using my garrison. I made more money in my 1 month of World of Warcraft than I did in the 3 years I played legitimately.
You know, if that's,
garrisons are a cool thing.
If that's your issue, you know, other people getting things faster doesn't invalidate your past enjoyment. See your psych.
Right.
But if you're mad about Star Fox, just go die in a fire. It's not even a game that you're gonna play it on normal. Shut up and enjoy it.
Also, let's all be honest. This is gonna be the last Star Fox game anyway.
You think so?
It's a dead franchise. Like I mean, like Metroid is still relevant, and they haven't even made a Metroid game in forever.
Well, yeah. When did Other M come out? I forgot.
It came out on the Wii, so
yeah, quite a while.
Going by how long it's been since I heard, I'd say probably at least 7 years.
Yeah.
Like 07, 08, somewhere.
Again, and that's why they're doing the baby mode, because they need as many people to play Star Fox as possible to.
And you know the NX is coming out and is going to invalidate the Wii U anyway, so
yeah,
they need to try and make as much money as humanly possible off this shit.
All
right.
Yeah, did we say all there is to say about that? Friggin' stop being a douche.
Also, stop picking Charmander.
Later.
Later, guys.